Greetings. This is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Miles. I'm in Gordon, Georgia. I love the way the city has this displayed here in the city of Gordon. City Council meeting first Monday, 7:30 p.m. and third Monday at 5:30 p.m. I was asked at Monday night's City Council meeting why I came into Gordon and why am I playing the race card along with many other names that are unbecoming of who I am. And so I will not respond to those negative comments, because that's not the flavor of my nature, nor is it the nature of my flavor. And so I'm just going to stick to the truth. And the truth is that if the people here in Gordon don't understand that it's not just about Gordon or Wilkinson County, a city that was established in 1885. It's not just about Gordon. At the meeting, TV station 41 asked the mayor some questions. She didn't answer them. And of course, you've been hearing a lot about that on television and other media news outlets. However, I've been doing what I'm doing since 1975, and the historic archival record says that blacks own very few newspapers and television stations in comparison to other Americans. Therefore, too often, the black and poor white stories are not republished, are not published in newspapers across the nation. Now, the paper that came out last week had at least 2 or 3 stories about the mayor. And this is nothing new. They say that she will not consent to an interview, and she says that when they interview her and take her word, they twist it. Well, this was a problem back in the days of Elijah Muhammad in Islam. So Elijah Muhammad gave Malcolm X, Louis Farrakhan, and others in the Nation of Islam the information and orders not to speak with the press, because the press is no friend of all Americans. Dr. Martin Luther King has it recorded in his archival record on his tapes and videos and DVDs that the same experience was in his day and time. Haven't finished yet. The Reverend Joseph Lowry, the Reverend Minister Jesse Jackson, the Reverend whoever you want to call. I was just with Representative Tyrone Brooks. We walked the streets in Quitman with the Quitman 10+2. We know the history of the news media. We don't have to debate that issue. And so, if you want to know more about that, just go to Boston G.B.R. News Whiteout, and you'll get the rest of the story. Now, the lady asked me why did I come to Gordon. She asked me, did I know the mayor, Whipple-Lue, before I came to Jordan City Council meeting? Well, she would not let me answer her, nor would she go on camera to ask those questions or state for the record what she wanted to say, and did say to me. I asked her to be on camera. She said she would. She got outside. She said she would not, but that's okay. But I want all people to understand I am willing to interview 41, any reporter from 41, or any place else. This is what this nation stands for on paper. But look, I did not know the mayor. I did not have the experience of coming and frequenting Gordon. So I'm going to answer the question that this white, beautiful sister asked me. I did not know much about Gordon except I came through this town when I was in the United States Armed Forces. So let me give you a little information in answering your question, and then I'm going to let the mayor, maybe she will answer all these TV scripts that have been published on the television. I knew about the problems with the black mayor, James C. Brown III in Quitman, Georgia. When he was elected mayor, they did not publish, for the most part, about that man being elected to office, number one. And number two, when he had took his oath of office. They didn't publish that as they should have, but I was there. His fellow council members failed to come to his inauguration. And so he asked for an office, and he was denied that. But I think he'll be having one now. Then so, after I left Quitman, I was called to Meigs, Georgia, a place that I had heard about and frequent many years ago. So I went to Meigs because I had read in the newspaper that the mayor was putting black salt around her desk. I later found out that there was a much deeper situation than that. And so you will see a mayor whose brothers, two of her brothers, are under criminal trespass warnings from what the former police chief and the former city manager said was unjustified, but was done in order to retaliate against the black mayor, Linda Harris. Haven't finished yet. Linda Harris have been arrested 1 or 2 times and taken to jail. She have been walked out on at a public meeting in the state of Georgia. You have seen meetings closed, and she did not close the meeting with her gavel. This is all documented. All documented. You will see that meeting schedules and dates were changed and the citizens was not informed. You will see and you will hear on this channel what the newspapers would not cover. And so, major tension is in Meigs, Georgia. I could go into it deeper, but why regurgitate what have already been documented, published, sent to the Governor Deal, the Secretary of State, the Attorney General. All of these people already are aware of what's happening in many Georgia towns where the new mayors that were black was put in power. Not all mayors in the state of Georgia of black African American descent are not having problems. I repeat, they are doing quite well. It's just a handful, well, 2 handfuls of towns wherein black African Americans, many were military veterans. They have gone through pure hell. And so I'm going to continue to highlight, however, I finish it. So then I was appointed and called to Dawson, Georgia, only to find out that the black mayor there by the name of Chris Wright, after being elected, was shot 6 times, left in his front yard for dead. His neighbor came over, and then the young man, or rather the mayor, asked him to check on his mom. His mom was in the house. Went inside and found that his mom had been pistol whipped. And so I walk the streets of Dawson just like I walk the streets in Meigs, just like I walked the streets in Quitman, Georgia, and just like I interviewed people that were victims of voter fraud in Quitman, Georgia with the Quitman 10+2. So after I found out that Chris Wright had the support of many citizens in Dawson, Georgia, I recorded and posted for all the world to see. Haven't finished yet. While in Dawson, Georgia, somebody called me and I met with them. They told me, Rhymes, you got to get over to talk to a mayor over in Gordon, Georgia by the name of Mary Ann Whipple-Lue and what she was going through. But they say that she was a strong black woman. They said she gonna be okay because she had ran for other offices, even at the state level. But what did I do? I did the same thing that I have done since 1975, and you will never see on my blog, kvci.blogspot.com. Let me repeat so you can get it straight. kvci.blogspot.com. You will not see me talk about other Georgians or people of Gordon like they talk about me. The name that they call me, I receive them as honor. For Dr. King received the same things and many others. So that is a part of our culture. That is some of what we do to help make America a much better place to live for all of our children and coming generations of children. I repeat, we are making America a better place. America is seen around the world as a better nation because of what the black American has contributed to our beloved nation. And so when I left Dawson, Georgia, and I came to the council meeting for the first time here in Gordon, that is on this channel under the playlist Gordon, Georgia Mayor Whipple-Lue. You can see it all. So now, that's how I got here into Gordon, Georgia, not to mention Davisboro, Georgia, not to mention Warrington, Georgia, not to mention 3 or 4 other mayors that have called me. And so we now are asking a question. If Mayor Whipple-Lue cannot get her story told and published in a manner that will be a reflection of the person that she is, then we as citizens have a responsibility. And that responsibility is to stand up for what the founding fathers implemented in our beloved nation. This is why I will stand with the mayor all the way, because I know that I and my ancestors had to fight, bleed, and die just to get a right to drink water from a public water fountain here in the state of Georgia. We had to fight just to get an education. We had to fight just to go get a right to fight. We had to fight to be called a full-fledged human being. We were labeled 3/5 of a human being. And so we understand others calling us all these names that they love so well. But when you look down the archival record, you will not find in the black Americans' history what whites have done to blacks. It's just that simple. So we are going to stand strong. We are not going to back up, because there is a pattern and trend in the state of Georgia to disenfranchise the voters. Lula Smart, one of the Quitman 10+2, had her first trial in September of last year. It ended up in a mistrial. She had a second trial that started April the 14th in Brooks County. That also was found a mistrial. And the state prosecutor said at that date told the judge we want another date because we want to try her again. Yet nobody's talking about the postal clerk that possibly violated federal law. Nothing about the school attorney calling a private investigator to investigate citizens, and Mr. Boone gave information from official mail to the investigator that he put in there claims he did not know. Yet, Georgia Attorney General, the U.S. Attorney General of the United States Postal Service, has not done anything to that man. That man said he didn't even understand and that he had not been trained on the Privacy Act. Can you imagine that? And so he took that information from the post office, and nothing has been done to him. Haven't finished yet. The registrar of Brooks County took ballots from the registrar's office to her home to work on because there was a high volume of them. And she hired her granddaughter to help her, and she paid her. So Shaveen King, the attorney for the Equipment 10+2 and Mulula Smart case, they along with Simmons Law Firm and Copeland's law firm in Valdosta, they all said, how could that be? And the Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp, is fully aware of what goes on in Brooks County with Equipment 10 and voting rights. It's all been documented. Nothing was said to her about removing ballots. Now the question is, in the state of Georgia, is it okay if the Secretary of State ignores that? Then that gives the impression statewide, every city and county can have registrars that take official ballots home to work on them. But Brian P. Kemp, we haven't read nothing in the newspaper, nothing on TV, nothing on radio, what they have done to correct this situation. So they have given the precedent that all registrars can take them home, and absolutely nothing will be done about it. The South Georgia news media won't even report what happened in either of those trials for the most part. The beef of the Equipment 10+2 Lula Smart trial is like top secret, but you can get it on the YouTube because I have been there and I want you to be informed, unlike others who want to keep you deaf, dumb, and blind to the times. And so now I intend to get Mayor Whipple-Lue to talk. She told me she want to talk. She want to talk over what Mr. Tucker of 41 had reported to the people in this area. She want to address those issues, and she want to try to set the record straight, apparently in a crooked world. So now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to close this out, but believe it, this is not the end. Stay tuned to Boston G.B.R. on YouTube for the rest of the story. And please notice, please, listen, please. When people call me all these names, I take it as a badge of honor. There has not been, let me repeat, I want to be clear as I can be. I have understanding that this is what's supposed to happen. I was in Atlanta, Georgia on television. You're going to see that too before it's over. That will be posted as well. Sunday of this week. And the reason I was on that station is because somebody called me on Comcast and said, Rhymes, we want to know from you what is going on in South Georgia because you've been doing it for such a long time. So we're going to close out. But there's no Al Sharpton here. There's no MSNBC here. There is no ABC in Brooks County with Lula Smart case. In fact, no TV station was there at Lula Smart trial. And so we must ask a question. Are we really and truly in a nation of laws? Or are we in a nation wherein the old Dred Scott decision of 1557, which said that no black man had any rights that a white man was bound to respect. Well, many of us can believe that that was just something of yesteryear. But I assure you, and I say to black people, don't become frustrated. Never lower your standards to believe that all white people agree with what is happening to black mayors in many towns here in the state of Georgia. For I know I have been hit on YouTube with blacks saying to me, we don't have this problem in our small town. And I must commend those towns who understand the dream of Dr. King, that we are all here as one. In time of war, black and white, Jew and Gentile, Protestant, Catholic, atheists alike, they all come together and unite for the good of our beloved nation. And so to black people, please, we know what the real deal is. If it had not been for white right people, let me repeat, if it had not been for white right people, there is no telling what would have happened to this beloved nation. But we thank Jesus. We thank God. We thank Moses. We thank Jehovah. We thank all the other religious denominations and experiences for wanting to do right, for what is good, for the image of America around the world. I do what I do, not out of venom, not out of hate, but because truth always regulates. Truth is the most powerful instrument that we can use. So let me sum up again when I started. You can say what you want about me. It's okay. My record speaks for itself. I started doing this in 1975. I've covered many stories. I don't want to be a big newspaper, never have. I didn't even and don't want to continue this. I want to stop. But when I look at how America's news media networks are ignoring the citizens, not in Russia, not in China, not in Pakistan, Afghanistan, or any other third world nation, but right here in the state of Georgia and right here in Gordon City, Georgia. And so I'm going to continue to say to you, out of great love, keep it real in whatever you do. If what you do is not in the best interest of all Georgia citizens and the nation, then you may want to consider following what has been written. And if this mayor is not following what she has been required to do by state law, then get up a signed petition and remove her from office according to the law. I read and I heard on TV that some people will want this mayor removed by any means necessary. Well, there are many ways that we can move an elected, let me repeat, we can remove an elected official. But if it's not done in accordance with the law, then we can only ask, in conclusion, if Georgia is a state of laws. Please Google Quitman, Mayor James C. Brown III, Meigs, Georgia, Linda Harris, Dawson, Georgia, Chris Wright, Davisboro, Georgia, Johnny, Warrenton, Georgia, Ivy, and of course Mary Whipple-Lue here in Gordon, Georgia. And as I said before, there are others waiting to see what Georgia Attorney General will do. People are waiting to see what the Secretary of State will do about voting rights and open and closed meetings in the state of Georgia. The eyes are on the state of Georgia, from New Zealand to Africa and around the world. And as Jesus said in St. John 8:32, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth will set and make you free. And so I want to appeal unto the mayor. Stay upright. Walk in truth. Let the citizens speak. Never deny them the rights to address the elected officials. If you go to Meigs, Georgia, you will see, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. To the beautiful sister who condemned me and said all those negative things about me, I want you to know that I love you. I love you. And you can come and I still will grant you an interview. And you can say all the negative stuff that you want about me. And I'm 100% sure I will not travel down that road in my response to you, because I love you just that much. The Ghetto Free Press. Bye-bye. Be gone. Let me repeat. The Ghetto Free Press. Bye-bye. Be gone. This is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm in Gordon, Georgia. The other night at Gordon City Council meeting, I was asked after the meeting, what was I trying to prove by covering Gordon City Mayor Marion Whipple-Lue? I was also asked, did I know the mayor? Yet, when I tried to respond to a local citizen, this citizen was negative, but I will not respond to her negativity, but I will try to answer her question here now and much, much more. She asked why I came to Gordon, Georgia. She kept interrupting me, and Channel 41 news reporter witnessed this. I told him that this is what I would have told her had she waited and not kept interrupting me. I had no knowledge of what was happening in Gordon, Georgia. I was in Quitman, Georgia, and I noticed what James C. Brown III, the first elected mayor of Quitman, Georgia, in the history of that city, and that he was an African American. And I witnessed what he was going through. He asked for an office, and he was denied at first. However, of all the cities that I journeyed to later, Quitman, in my opinion, is perhaps the best relations in a city that I have seen with newly elected mayors. I also know there are many cities in Georgia where mayors are black and they have absolutely no major problems whatsoever. And I want to make that unequivocally clear. However, I was called to Meigs, Georgia, where black female Linda Harris were elected by a majority vote of the people, as you will see on this video. Then I was called to Dawson, Georgia, where a black 24-year-old mayor were elected by the name of Chris Wright. I walked the streets in Dawson, Georgia. I talked to citizens, I interviewed citizens, and I even entered a historic figure and president of the local NAACP. You will see that on some of these videos on Boston G.B.R. While there, Mayor Chris Wright told me about Mary Ann Whipple-Lue. I knew nothing of her. I knew nothing about Gordon, Georgia, except I passed through here when I was in the United States Armed Forces during my 21-year career. And so I came to Gordon, Georgia City Council meeting, and I witnessed what she was going through, as you will see on this video. Meg's and Gordon, Georgia problems are the same, and there are other cities in Georgia with likewise problems where there is newly elected mayors of cities and towns here in South and Middle Georgia. I was also called by another mayor in a northern city. We have talked, but I have not visited him yet. But the truth of the matter is, people can say what they want about me and what I'm doing to try to keep the American people informed, because somebody apparently do not want the American citizens to know the truth. I was also called into Davisboro, Georgia, and there was problems there as well. But let me say this, regardless of what some may say, regardless of the negativity that some will thrust upon me, I took an oath and obligation in the United States Armed Forces to protect this nation from both foreign and domestic enemies, and anybody that comes up against the American people and the voters in our republic is a threat to our beloved nation. And so now my first major concern is the way the mayor of Gordon has been treated, and with little to no real news coverage in terms of what actually happened on both sides of the fence. All I'm going to do is let the mayor and the record speak as loud and clear as it can without the venom. First of all, isn't it strange that an elected mayor by the majority of the people cannot carry out her duties without being called many names? Over and over again we see this. If we reflect back on history, we know that many mayors, I won't call their names here, during the civil rights struggles, did many things to certain people in our beloved nation, and yet they never received the venom that we're receiving in many towns across Georgia. To my knowledge, in truth, and I am limited in my knowledge, that after the third week that this mayor here, Mary Ann Whipple-Lue, was elected mayor, she asked for an audit. And according to what I've heard and read, that was the start of major problems and controversy in Gordon. I have talked extensively with the mayor of Meigs, Georgia, and the major concern there is when she asked for an audit in order to ensure the taxpayers' dollars were being used wisely. Well, I'm going to close this out now. I want to thank the Wilkinson County Post for doing what they do along with the local television stations. However, there is a little more that needs to be said, and we'll do it at this time.
One Gordon resident recorded the mayor on camera saying if he wants to talk at council meetings, he's got to set up an appointment with the mayor first. It's a complete and sudden change in policy. 41 NBC's Taylor Terrell spoke with the frustrated resident and has more. Richard Clark, a concerned citizen of Gordon, shot this video of his conversation with Mayor Whipple-Lue at Gordon City Hall.
What is it regarding?
I'll bring it up at the meeting.
But if you don't do it now, you can't get on the agenda. Because I've got a new procedure in place that you have to come in and set an appointment with me, or either put it in writing and we'll discuss it.
Anytime I'm in her presence, I've got something recording because people need to see what's going on. They need to understand how she handles every situation, how she deals with people.
Clark didn't complete a request to fill out a citizen's comment form.
I was turned down before I even got it. She told me if I didn't, go through her and get approved by her that I wasn't going to speak.
But several people did. Terry Ann Brown, April Blackman, and Gail Nelson.
This go around, I just wanted to see if I was able to, and I have, oh boy, it's so much.
Clark says the concerned citizens of Gordon feel ignored, and they'll do anything to see Whipple-Lue out of office, even if they have to expose her on social media.
I let everybody see how she's treating us and how she's violating our rights. We're supposed to be able to go in front of the city council and discuss things and talk about our concerns, and she's not letting that happen. She's ruling like a dictator.
You don't want me to give him the phone?
I mean, you can give it to him, but I'm just telling you we're not going to agenda.
And that's why Clark believes the citizens don't have a voice. 41 NBC reached out to Mayor Whipple-Lue for a response, but she declined to comment.
Call the office and schedule just like you do an appointment, and I will take the time to discuss whatever the issue is.
But not at the meeting. Not at the meeting.
Unless deemed necessary.
Everybody again tonight, thank y'all for coming out. Please be quiet, listen to what's going on. We'll get through the city business. We got quite a few line items to get done. We want the city business through with. Y'all will get to whatever, something y'all need to ask. Y'all got opportunity to talk.
It is now called to order. We will ask Council Whipple to lead us in a word of prayer.
May we bow our heads in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight. We come before you asking for your grace and your mercy. We ask that you would look down on this council meeting. Let it be what you want it to be, Jesus. Let your will be done, not our will be done, Jesus. But we ask that you would let your will be done. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Next we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance. Let us all stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another one of our council meetings tonight, May 5th, 2014. We're so delighted to have each of you concerned about your city, the town of Gordon. And for that, we'd like to say thank you. Council, I hope you've all had the time to read over your minutes, a chance to review them. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes of April?
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I oppose. I oppose.
You opposed?
Did you have anything?
One thing is that the last minutes, it was, I did not vote. I voted, no. I voted no. And this time it was a lot of things I think that was left, I know that was left off of this minutes that should have been on. And I don't see it.
She wants something added, she can recommend something to be added,
You didn't say
she
you.
wants something added.
The last,
Sorry, excuse me. Once the vote's taken, you can't go back and get an after discussion before you put it to a vote and it's already been voted on. Was there enough nays or yays to pass it, or do you know? Just then, on the
Everybody
minute.
voted aye, before the notice it comes.
Okay.
just then, I didn't. So the ayes, we can go with that, but it's just that I want in the minutes that I oppose.
You voted nay.
I voted no. Yes.
For the motion.
And I would like for you to correct that last meeting too. I did vote no too.
She didn't hear you.
I worked the last meeting. I did not do it.
Before we go into the old business, I just like to make it known for the record that the reservations for Savannah Conference has not been canceled, nor have I made any requests. Okay. Old business. Our insurance update from Agent Robbie Nixon. Is he available?
Yes.
Like, back, come down and sit down.
We are still, we're working on the insurance. I have received quotes, completely for everything on the insurance program. And I think they overall turned out well. I don't know if you've got a bid date or a cutoff date for turning in bids or not. That would be, I think, the key to doing it. But we can, I don't think it's anything you have to worry about anymore. We're able to supply insurance as of June 3rd, without any lapse in coverage. There are some recommendations that I want to make, when we get into the bids, but, you're not going to do without. You don't have to worry about that.
Are you far enough along to put them in writing so that you could maybe get them to City Hall so we could read over them before the next meeting?
Sure. As long, the only thing, since there's not really a formal date for accepting bids, And I'm sure every insurance agent is going to be in the same boat. You know, they don't want to turn in their bids before, you know, if you're still going to accept bids from others after the fact. If you're closing bids, you know, I'll be glad to share them with you tonight. But I need to know, you know, what your closing date is, I guess. You know, but we do have quotes on everything, and you know, we feel like it came out pretty good.
May I ask a question, Mayor? Mr. Nixon, you said you had a quote in all areas of insurance, that includes public official liability, law enforcement, buildings, casualty, general liability, workers' comp.
Workers' comp was not an issue, I don't believe, on what I got. That was not in the bid package that I received.
Workers' comp still through German.
But it's not got the same date. I don't know what the date is for your workers' comp. But you know, we certainly can bid the workers' comp.
What about public officials liability?
Public officials we have.
Okay.
So you said it was not in the package that you were given?
Not the workers' comp. The workers' comp was, comes up at a separate time, I understand. It's not at the, from what I got, you know, in the policy that I received, the GERMA workers' comp was not included in that. We can do the comp. It's usually got a different effective date, and I'm not sure what your effective date is for that. But we certainly would be very happy to quote you on the comp.
Well, you know, let's follow up on Mr. Nixon's statement about the effective date. Well, y'all have a limited amount of time left. You only have one regularly scheduled meeting between now and June 3rd. Right. So.
Do you think you could have that, once all that is presented? Now, is this a problem that GERMA excluded that from the packet, or?
Well, comp,
you know?
my understanding is GERMA, your comp comes up at a different time. I don't know exactly when your renewal date is for comp. The cancellation did not mention workers' comp. It mentioned all the other lines of business.
Well, Kennedy, I think that's the question, or the statement that I may need to make, is that maybe that's something that council attorney, you might be able to get with him and get that information.
Yes, ma'am. I actually spent some time today trying to ascertain just that issue, because he's right, it's not clear to me. I don't know when the effective date of workers' comp, and also your life and health insurance, I think is different. Different categories.
Well, why don't you, you know.
So.
And we would be happy to quote on anything that you need, and I'm sure we can supply with it.
And I don't know how long it takes. For instance, if they accept the bid on the next meeting, which would be the 19th, does that give the company time enough to issue coverage by before June 3rd?
Yes. Yes. I mean, what I did is I submitted complete applications. Then they also had supplemental applications. I came down and sat down with Juana and other department heads, and we filled out the entire application. So all you got to do is sign it. And of course pay premiums, and you know, you're enforced. You know, so it can be bound with a day's notice, really. But you know, I'm not saying I was waiting for the very last day, certainly. But you know, you're not going to go without insurance. But you do need to, you know, to weigh out the prices and some other things. I also, in talking with the underwriters, there are some changes that we as a city can make, which will drastically affect pricing to the better. I talked to them.
Are you saying much cheaper than what GERMA's?
No, I'm not saying much cheaper. Now, a lot of the lines were cheaper than GERMA, but you know, there are a couple of problem lines too. You know, the workers' comp, I mean the public officials and the law enforcement are the main things. The public officials was not as big an issue as the law enforcement was when I talked to the underwriters. And you know, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever case is, insurance companies everywhere know everything that goes on. Because they surprised me with some questions that they obviously got off the internet. You know, they read everything that has to do with everybody. You know, they deal with hundreds of cities, but they keep up with everything that's going on. And they made some recommendations, and they said that in the future or near future that there are several things that I can work with the city, you know, to make some changes in procedures, some changes in policies that would drastically help you on the insurance rates. You know, there was one thing that was, you know, would cut a third off of one of the lines. And it was a simple recommendation, which I would get into later whenever we're ready to do it. But, you know, and some, you know, very reasonable recommendations. But, you know, where we are is, you know, we have new administration, we have a majority new council, and they want to see a track record, you know, just like everybody else. But there are a lot of things that I'm, you know, and I can work with you on anything that will help with the pricing, help bring things down.
When you enter into this new insurance, how much upfront money you talking about? You see, now we got just a monthly deal. And usually when you first start a new insurance, you have to pay, say, the first 6 months or something. I'm just wondering, do you have any idea?
I will get with them about that.
Yeah.
You know, they gave me totals right now.
Yeah.
You know, they will, you know, they all finance them, so they can break it down into whatever. Basically, most insurance companies will take whatever payment plan that you want to make. You know, they have monthly payment plans, they have quarterly, you know, pretty much anything you want to do. And I'm sure that they will work that out. You know, we've got other companies that do nothing but finance premiums. You know, but usually,
we're sort of coming down to the wire on this. Do y'all anticipate getting any more bids, Tawana, do you know?
We may be getting one from BB&T, the only other one that I know.
Well,
Question.
any,
The one that Tawana just said, what is it, BB&T?
BB&T informed me that they were not bidding. Now, I don't know.
But they didn't tell you that, Tawana.
He just said he didn't have any problem with the local agent handling this if we wanted him to, but he would still be glad to give us a bid if we wanted it.
Well, I got this from my company. They said they talked to him fast, and that, you know, he was not really interested, but he had some surplus lines companies that would give quotes. But if we were getting quotes from the company that I'm dealing with, then he was not, you know, really in the ballpark. But you may have talked to him since.
well, let me just offer this, maybe to try to resolve it, because I know anytime there's a change of company, council, the mayor, of course, may have questions about what does this mean, what does this mean, what does this mean. It's just a suggestion, y'all do what you want to with it, but maybe schedule a work session that whoever comes in with a quote, whether it's Mr. Nixon or Mr. Nixon or somebody else, or just Mr. Nixon, go over the quote with you just in a work session, so y'all can answer all the questions, ask all the questions, and then be ready to vote on it hopefully on the 19th.
And the company that I dealt with said they are willing to talk about anything within the quote, you know, anything that you want to change, anything that might be beneficial, you know, or need to be moved around, they would be glad to do.
You mentioned something while ago about over half the council is new or something like that. Now, is that,
Well,
it ain't, but
aren't
it's
right in.
No, it ain't right in. Two four.
I'm sorry.
Does that got something to do with the price of it because we got new council now?
Well, we have a new administration, and we have 5 lawsuits pending right now. That, of course, scares any insurance company. It scared Germa out of the business. So, you know, but they are willing to work with us on helping to get a good track record and get back, you know, their quotes with Trident were actually very good. You know, but, you know, there are some things we can do to improve some of the other lines. And, you know, I'll be glad to sit down and work with you on those kind of things and, you know, getting the price where it needs to be. And I've got some recommendations, you know, to make when the time comes, even before we come up to the finalization. You know, so a work session, I think, would be a good idea to sit down and do those kind of things, because there are a lot of options. You know, there's optional coverage, there's optional, you know, different things that you may or may want to do. Right. Right. We don't have a lot of time, but they said they are still, you know, they're not, everything is not set in stone. They're willing to change things, to, you know, change pricing, to change, you know, whatever they need to do. You know, there's some things, I mean, we're still carrying full coverage on just about every vehicle, except for one, I think. And that's because it's like an 87 S10 pickup truck. It's the only one that's got liability on it. But there may be some others that don't need full coverage.
That's what we need to do, is get those, that list that you possibly have, and look at all of that, because if they're that metal, and we just possibly sit not full coverage. Not just liability.
Yeah, on some of them, you know, some of them, it just depends on the value and what it's worth.
So what I do, we can schedule us a work session to meet with you and go over that before we've got to get, like I said, willing to, time is of the essence, right, the 19th. So.
And I'm open to, you know, whatever y'all want to do, something like that.
Why don't I schedule a date, and then we'll, I'll notify the council as well as yourself.
Sure. That will be perfect.
Thank you. Next item of discussion is to discuss the security system, installation of cameras and lights, and improve the quality of landscaping and appearances around City Hall. So I know that what I'm doing is inform you, council, that I'm still in the process of getting the bid, having them come in, and for the surveillance cameras and security. Right now, as we look around City Hall, Councilor Edie, do you know anything about the switches? Since the ladies, the staff, are not familiar with the switches inside the building, for the lights on around the building.
I can look and see. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I know this.
And we'll be putting some flowers around City Hall, beautifying the city, and to enhance the look. I want to commend Mr. Lawrence and his staff for doing such a great job of the lawn. And we just want that to make that a continuous priority, to make our city proud and look good. Recommend a motion to accept the installing of the security system. We've already.
Do we have the bid ready?
I don't have the bids ready. I
Okay.
just got one more to go.
Just bring the quote back or something.
And we've already approved it, but I just need to get the bid. Yeah. But I'll get the bids on for someone to come in and get the landscape. So can I get a recommendation? To have someone with landscaping around the City Hall. I just want to let y'all know, don't want to do anything else.
Sure, sure. I don't think there's any problem getting all the people to do that.
All right, now, the next item of discussion is the pre-disaster mitigation plan. We adopt that resolution, so I'm ready to go with that.
I make a motion that we adopt the resolution that was with the litigation plan. It's on the back, I think, that we all have to adopt. I think you need to read it, I think. You know, the resolution.
Clerk, will you read it? My glasses and the word. Let's read it first.
Okay, whereas Gordon County and the other municipalities in the county are required to complete a pre-disaster hazard mitigation plan by the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. And whereas under the provisions of the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, local governments that complete pre-disaster hazard mitigation plans will remain eligible for federal mitigation funding. And whereas Gordon, Wilson County, and the other municipalities in the county have completed a pre-disaster hazard mitigation plan that fulfills the federal requirements of the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. Now therefore let it be resolved that the City of Gordon formally adopts this pre-disaster hazard mitigation plan.
A motion and a second. All in favor of setting the pre-litigation plan? Adopting this. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item of discussion is new business. The first item we have is a water bill adjustment request.
We don't have any this.
Next item of business is the sound system for City Hall and the annex. Now that we're having the meetings over here, some of you all are saying that you cannot hear us, and you need to be able to hear what you're listening to. So I'd like to check into that and get a sound system that some of you all be able to speak into the mic.
I'd like a motion that we solicit 3 bids for a sound system.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Now the next item of discussion is more seating to accommodate everyone, because I see people standing all around the wall. Can we get some more chairs? I'd like to see more chairs and yeah. What if it keeps growing like it's growing, what we can do is expand the City Hall, build up, go up on top floor. Make it a story. Yeah, to make the room not as big as this, you know. That's my view. Okay, do I have a motion and second that we get more seating?
I think we ought to just wait on that a little bit. Everything calm down, we don't need it.
Well, we still want them to come when the things are calm. We don't want y'all just to come when things are going bad. We want everybody. This is your city. Everybody. When it's going good, don't stop. When it's going bad, don't stop. Let's keep it going. All right. So, but we'll come back with some more. All right. Moving on a little further. Item 8, we have committee reports. Police, Councilwoman Toles. Fire, Councilman Edie.
Yes, ma'am, everything is going good right now.
Streets, Councilwoman Wilson.
Everything is the same as the last report. Still need improvement on the streets.
Water, sewage, and sanitation, Councilman Longwood.
Everything's doing good. If it ain't, somebody better be calling, because I ain't heard anything else ain't going real well.
Finance, Councilman Reeves. Better Hometown. I see we have a letter here from Mr. Daniels, is he available? Have y'all had a chance, council, to read over the letter? No, good, we have to. Go ahead and accept this resignation.
I make a motion that we accept his resignation. We looked at him, he's done a good job, but if he's ready to give it up, I don't see any reason to deny that right.
I second that motion.
All in favor of accepting Mr. Daniels' resignation? Let me hear by word now. Any opposed? So I'll take on that until we can get a replacement. I'll step up this slate with him and appoint someone in that place until we can move further. Our liaison, Council Terry Reese. Our next item of business is citizens to be heard. And what I'd like to say is that for a few, maybe 3 that I received regarding wanting to get on the agenda, we, as I said, I will only allow you to make statements, not ask questions. So, and you have about, this is regarding official business. So if you have any, something you'd like to tell us tonight, you can come and one at a time. Now, I will only allow for 4 tonight. Okay, no one, we'll move forward to executive session.
I would like to say that after not this past council meeting, but the one before, I came twice to City Hall to meet with you, was I able to do that. I called 2 or 3 days to try to get in touch with you and could not. So I put on the agenda, which was what you said to do at the last city council meeting. So I'm wondering why I'm not on here to be heard, to ask questions.
Okay.
Because I had questions for you, but also I wanted to ask Mr. Terry.
That was a question that you asked, so I will answer your question. I returned your call twice, and I have a policy in place that it is just the way it is. So thank you very much.
You didn't call me twice, I talked to you.
Thank you. All right.
I talked to you, so can I ask my questions to the council?
No. We'll do that.
Can I ask you, Mr. Terry?
No, I'm not.
Can I ask now? Okay.
All right, next we will now enter into executive session. No, we don't have the.
You said 4 people, and I filled out form.
Miss, I spoke with you and you need to follow the policy as we spoke, and that's it. Thank you. Next.
Let me make a statement that I did fill out forms and I was denied. She's not going to let me ask any questions or make a statement.
Next, we will now enter, I get a motion that we go into recommendation.
Have to make a statement exactly why you're going into it.
To discuss pending litigation.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss pending litigation with our lawyers, city court lawyers.
All in favor?
Everybody has to be told one at a time. Yes. Yes for me. Yes.
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 Thank you. Back to the question. That's all we got.
again. I'm at the Garden City City Council meeting tonight. As I was leaving the meeting, as the council members and Mayor Whipple-Lue went into executive session, I was approached by a citizen here, and they asked me, why did I not publish something about a letter that was posted on YouTube? And I heard a couple more words that was negative, which I won't mention here because I don't get into that. But what she did say is that, why don't you put this on camera? I say, sure, I will. And I turned to get it on the camera, and then she said, no, they give me orders or something not to speak with you. But I'm not going to get into the negative of what she said. But once again, I'm always open, and I want it to be known. Whenever you see me at these council meetings, if you have a statement to make, I will do it, whether they are for the mayor or against the mayor or neutral. I will report it. If you bring it to me, I will report it. There is no hidden agenda. It's all based on openness and fairness. Not from my point of view, but when you give your view and I give my view, and if anybody else gives their view, it will be up to you making your own viewpoint. And that is what I've always done since 1975, and I have I have no intentions of ever changing that. Whatever the truth is, whatever the historic archival record maintains, whatever the citizens say, without it being clipped, split, or ignored, that's where we are. We know the history of what we've come through, and we know what the future will be if we don't stand up for what is right along the lines of freedom, equality, and justice for all people. It's just that simple. The volume of sacred law says God has no respect of persons, for whatsoever I say unto one, I say unto all. And that's all I have ever tried to do, and that's all I ever will do, is to report the truth. Because in God's word, heaven and earth would pass away, but his word, truth, love, and justice will reign supreme.